Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel, where today I will be talking about Elden Ring, a game where you are a maidenless man or woman and your goal is to become the Elden Lord, which basically is the king of this fantasy world called the Lands Between. With the DLC being announced a few weeks ago, I've actually been wanting to make this video for a while. I've been playing Elden Ring for the past 2 months and I just fallen completely in love with the game. It's amazing. So without further ado, welcome to my opinion on Elden Ring. Of course, spoilers ahead. So like I said, I've been playing this game non-stop for the past 2 months, and this is basically thanks to a friend of mine. I was basically just trolling him and calling Elden Ring mid and just an easy game overall, and we actually made a bet with each other, just a friendly bet, where we actually said that if I could complete the game in a week, that's it, I would basically win the bet. And that actually motivated me to give this game a second chance. You see, my brother and I, we actually share the same PC, and he was always a fan of the Souls genre, but I was never really into it. You see, I already played Dark Souls 2 and 3, but I just rage quit every time because I just could never get past the second or third boss. So when my brother bought Elden Ring, I decided to give it another chance, but it just turned out exactly like the Dark Souls games. I tried to get past Margit, who is basically the first main story boss of the game, but I just couldn't. I tried time and time again, but eventually I just got sick of it, so I didn't touch the game for about a year. Now, I'm a pretty impatient person, and these types of games require a lot of patience, so you can see why I was never really into it. But then, after that bet with my friend, I was actually really motivated to try and finish the game in a week. But, being the impatient idiot that I am, I actually did the same thing that I did the first time I played Elden Ring and just rushed straight to Margit. As you can guess, that really didn't end that well for me. So I asked another friend of mine for help, and he basically told me, "You're an idiot. You're supposed to go explore some dungeons so you can level up, and then you can go and try to fight Margit." And I was like, oh, okay. So I went and I explored, and I leveled up a bit. So after a couple of hours, I managed to beat Margit. And this is where I finally understood what all the Souls games are about. It's about that feeling that you get after you defeat a really hard boss. That feeling of accomplishment. You just feel like a winner. After I beat Margit, I felt like I was on the top of the fucking world. But then, the game decides to kick your ass again. But this is basically, like, I just didn't want to quit anymore. It kicks your ass again, but it just made me want that feeling of satisfaction after defeating a hard boss even more. So I eventually got past the Stormville Castle and went and got to Godric, which was probably the easiest boss of the game. And motherfucker was easy as hell. So that motivated me even more. But that is actually a trap by the developers. They actually boost your ego, so you're like, oh, this game is easy or whatever. But then you just encounter another hard boss or another hard area and you're like, okay, so I might have to calm down a little bit. I actually really struggled with the next boss, which is the Red Wolf of Radagon. That little shit just didn't stop fucking moving everywhere, and I just couldn't seem to hit him. And when I finally did, I got so fucking greedy, which just meant that he just killed me easily. But after leveling up a bit, I eventually killed him. And after that, there was the Renala boss fight. And for some reason, I couldn't get past the first fucking phase. I don't know why. Now I'm on NG plus 4, and I just don't know how the hell I managed to struggle with Renala's first phase. But I did, so I actually had to get a friend to help me. Please don't judge me. Then after a few hours, I finally killed Renala, and my confidence was slowly but surely picking up again. Up until this point, I actually couldn't believe that I was actually enjoying the game. Like, after just months of trolling my friends, saying that it didn't deserve a Game of the Year, saying that the game was mid and everything, I was actually really enjoying myself while playing. Now, I knew that this wasn't a bad game at all by any means, but I just didn't expect it to enjoy it so much, especially with me not being a fan of the Souls games. Like, I raged quit out of the 2 Dark Souls that I played, Dark Souls 2 and 3, so I just really didn't expect myself to like this. And now this is the part where I was getting kind of annoyed with the game, not because it was boring or because I was raging at bosses, but just because I didn't know what the fuck to do. The game really doesn't tell you anything, except sometimes via an NPC or something. But like I said, me being an impatient asshole, sometimes I skip through a lot of dialogue, which is something that you really shouldn't do in this game. But I did, and I learned the hard way that you really can't. But I'm just saying it would have been much better if they added like a small journal so you could keep track of like your main quests, your side quests, and everything. That's really the only real complaint I have about the game. The game really delivers a 10 out of 10 experience, and I actually do believe that. Like, I mean it. This game is actually a 10 out of 10. It's probably like the most fun I've had in years with gaming. Probably since like 2018 with God of War, Red Dead Redemption, and everything. But anyway, let's continue with the main story. So after I beat Ranala, I actually continued on to Altus Plateau, and I actually entered the capital city. But not before about 6 hours of trying to beat the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Yeah, that fucker really gave me some trouble. I also want to say that I kind of rushed the main story of the game in my first playthrough, which is something that I definitely should have done, but I was like, oh, I have to finish the game in a week and everything, I don't really have time to explore a lot, but I shouldn't have done that. I should have explored a bit more. But anyway, after exploring the city and getting my ass handed to me for about 1,000,000 times, I actually got to Morgoth, and yeah, I got some PTSD flashbacks from my first fight with him, but to my surprise, I beat him first try. Yes, you heard that right. First fucking try. After that, my confidence was through the fucking roof, and I actually started to develop a bit of an ego. The mountaintop of the giants quickly shut that shit down for me though. That fucking area was handing me death screens like Randy Orton hands out RKOs. It was wild, bro. I eventually got to the fire giant while evading some finger creepers, which, by the way, fuck you developers for adding those shits in there. I'm scared of spiders, so yeah, finger creepers, they kind of look like spiders with a bit more legs, so yeah, fuck you From Software. After a couple of hours I managed to beat the fire giant. It took me a couple of hours because I was basically being greedy, like always, but eventually I did kill him, burned the Earth Tree, and went into the endgame, Farum Azula. And as you can guess, in Farum Azula, I got my ass handed to me again. I eventually got to the the Godskin duo, my bad. I struggled for a couple of hours, but I eventually beat him, and when I did, I can tell you I screamed of joy and relief. Even my parents were like, what the fuck's wrong with you, why are you screaming? So after the Foreskin duo, I eventually got to Malekith, and this boss was probably the boss that I struggled with the most on my first playthrough. The first phase was fine, but the second phase, where he fucking jumps around everywhere, I just couldn't for the life of me defeat him. So I asked a friend for help. But since throughout the week I was trolling and still talking shit, he refused to help me, which I understand because I was talking a lot of shit. So I farmed a bit to try to get my XP and to level up, and after 2 fucking days, you heard that right, 2 fucking days, I got to Malekith on day 4, I only defeated him on day 6. 2 days of trying to beat this fucker. But I did. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. But there was no time for celebration, because I knew that I only had 2 main bosses left to defeat. Oh, and Gideon, of course. I actually struggled for about 30 minutes with Gideon. I heard that he was the easiest boss of the game, but I actually struggled for a little while with him, so yeah, credit to you, Gideon. Or maybe I'm just bad at the game, that's also a possibility. So after Gideon, I fought Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And I don't know if it was the arena or something, but I actually beat him on my 3rd try. Can someone please explain to me how I struggled more with Gideon than with Godfrey? Cause I fucking can't. So, after Godfrey, there's only 1 boss left. Or 2, I guess. Radagon. And man, this motherfucker. This fucking boss, bro. I swear, I struggled so much with him. He was so difficult. I don't know, but because like he sometimes attacks fast and sometimes slowly. He's so confusing. Like I just couldn't find like a pattern with him. So I struggled a lot, and he actually made me doubt that I would actually be able to complete the battle with my friend and complete the game in 7 days. I was really struggling with him. And this was the last day. The last day. It had been 7 days. So if I didn't beat him that day, that Sunday, then I would have lost the bet against my friend. I wouldn't have lost much. It's just a friendly bet. But still, I really wanted to complete the game. It had been about 4 hours. I was really struggling to get past Radagon. I did a couple of times, but then the Elden Beast just finished me off because I just had no healing left. But then one time, I killed Radagon, and I still have 5 healings left, 5 Estus flasks. So I was like, okay, you know what? I was actually pretty confident that I was actually gonna beat him. So I was fighting the Elden Beast, you know, everything was fine and everything. Then I did my famous L2R2 attack with my famous trustworthy Bloodhound Fang, and I got the job done. I fucking beat Elden Ring in a week. I won this bet. I didn't win anything, but I won the bet. So I was fucking happy. I was very happy with that. So yeah, I won the bet, congrats, everything, yada yada yada. But I felt like I didn't really explore much. And it's true, I just rushed through the main story in my first playthrough. So after a couple of days I was like, you know what? I feel like I can still play Elden Ring, you know? It's not because I finished the game that I just never touch it again. And it was probably one of the best decisions of my gaming life, I would say. Because the game is fucking amazing. What I didn't explore on my first playthrough, I did on my second. And it was amazing. There are so many beautiful areas in the game, many other secret bosses and everything. The game is just a masterpiece. All the areas are beautiful in their own way. The lore is amazing. The lore is fucking amazing. I definitely suggest to people who don't really know the lore behind Elden Ring to go look it up. I'm not gonna talk about it here because it would just be way too long. But the lore is amazing. George R. R. Martin is a god. Honestly, he just writes so well. He wrote The Song of Ice and Fire. Of course, fortunately, Game of Thrones didn't really end that well, but you know, Elden Ring was amazing. Of course, I also beat the hardest boss of the game, Millennia, which I was just like, when I beat her, I didn't even scream. Like, I was happy, but I didn't even scream. I just looked at my screen. I was like, yeah, I did it. She fucking, like, she made me have depression for like 2 days or something. Like, it was fucking crazy. But after I beat her, like, it was like I just graduated or something. Like, I just had a fucking party inside my head, bro. So I'm actually gonna put a ranking of like the bosses that I struggled the most with out of all the bosses, and all the playthroughs are like mixed together. I'm actually gonna put the screen here or whatever, so you can see the ranking. Now I know that list might trigger a few people, but it's not like hardest boss. It's just the bosses that I struggled the most with. Keep that in mind. Now to end things off, I would just like to say to anyone who hasn't played Elden Ring and doesn't really like these types of games, I definitely suggest that you give this game a chance. Because I was exactly like that. I just really didn't enjoy these types of games, but I tried them out, like really with a patient mindset, like with a different mindset that I normally have. A patient, cool mindset and everything. Because if you are impatient in this game, you will lose. So just go in with like a patient mindset. Know that you're gonna get your ass handed to you a lot of times. But honestly, like if you're interested but you just find these games hard or not really like, it's not really like your type of game, I still really suggest that you give this game a chance because it's a 10 out of 10 it's a masterpiece. But anyway, that's just my opinion and it's totally fine if you have another. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is actually my first facecam video. Yeah, I actually invested in a facecam and a new microphone. I hope it's not too bad. I hope that it helps me make better videos going forward for you guys and everything. I want to grow my channel, so I can't do that with a shitty microphone and no camera. I hope that this microphone is better. I hope that, you know, the quality of the camera is better. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, share this video with your friends, and yeah, hope you have a nice day. Bye now.